Rocky mountains kissed the endless sky. Elijah and the night deepened, and they moved to the bearskin rug before the hearth. Elijah shed his shirt, his muscles honed from frontier life, and drew her down with him. Clara's fingers traced the scars on his arms, reminders of bar fights and wild horse taming. She pulled him into a kiss, deep and urgent, tasting the salt of his skin, their bodies entwined, the fire's light casting shadows that danced across the walls. Whispers turned to moans as they gave in to the rhythm of their desire. The storm outside a mere echo of the tempest within. Hours passed in a blur of touch and breath, until they lay spent, wrapped in each other's arms, the fire dying to embers. Clara rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat, steady as the mountains themselves. "I love you," she murmured, and he held her tighter. The world outside irrelevant in their shared warmth. Morning broke with a crisp clarity, the snow blanketing the landscape in white silence. Elijah rose first, stoking the fire back to life while Clara stirred under the quilt on their rope bed. The cabin was small, one room for living, cooking and sleeping, but it was theirs. She watched him through half-lidded eyes, admiring the way his broad shoulders flexed as he added logs. The image from the night before lingered in her mind, a secret flame that warmed her even now. Pulling on a simple calico dress, she joined him at the cast-iron stove, where coffee percolated with a comforting gurgle. "Storms passed," Elijah said, glancing out the frost-laced window. Outside, their homestead stretched, a barn in the distance, fields waiting for spring planting. Clara nodded, pouring them both mugs, the steam rising like morning mist. They ate breakfast, biscuits baked the day before, slathered with butter from their cow in companionable silence. But beneath it simmered the memory of their intimacy. Clara's hand brushed his across the table, and he caught it, his thumb stroking her palm. "We've got work ahead," he said, but his eyes promised more stolen moments. The day unfolded with chores, Elijah repairing a fence broken by the wind, Clara churning butter and mending socks by the window. As the sun climbed, melting the snow in patches, she found herself daydreaming of him, of the way his touch ignited her. By midday, they shared lunch under a bare oak tree, the air crisp with pine scent. Elijah pulled her into his lap, kissing her forehead. "You're my everything out here," he whispered. Clara smiled, leaning into him, the vast Montana sky above them a canvas of blue. As afternoon waned, a visitor arrived, a neighbor from 5 miles down the valley, Old Man Harlan, on horseback with news of a cattle drive coming through. He stayed for coffee, regaling them with tales of Indian skirmishes and gold strikes in the Black Hills. Clara listened politely, but her mind wandered to Elijah, who sat beside her, his knee pressing against hers under the table. When Harlan left, the cabin felt empty again, just the two of them. Elijah locked the door, turning to her with that same intense gaze from the night before. "Come here," he said, voice low. Clara crossed the room, her dress swishing, and he lifted her onto the table, his hand sliding up her skirts. Their lovemaking was quicker this time, fueled by the day's restraint but no less passionate. Afterward, as they caught their breath, Clara laughed softly. What if Harlan had forgotten something? Elijah grinned. Then he'd have a story to tell. Twilight brought a chill, and they prepared supper, venison stew from a deer Elijah had hunted weeks ago. The fire roared again, casting golden light. Clara hummed an old hymn as she stirred the pot, feeling content in this life they'd built. Elijah watched her, his love evident in every glance. After eating, they sat by the hearth, her head in his lap as he read from a worn Bible. But soon, the book was set aside, and his fingers traced patterns on her arm. The night repeated the intimacy of before, slower now, exploring each other with tender care. Clara's body responded to his every touch, waves of pleasure building until they crested together. Lying in the afterglow, she traced his jawline. "Do you ever miss the city?" she asked. He shook his head. "Not with you here." Sleep came easily, the cabin a cocoon against the world. Days blended into a routine, but their bond deepened with each passing sunset. One morning, Elijah set out to check traps in the woods, leaving Clara to tend the home. She baked bread, the aroma filling the air. But worry nagged at her. The woods held dangers, wolves, bears, even outlaws rumored to hide in the hills. As hours ticked by, she paced, glancing out the window. When he finally returned, snow-dusted and carrying a rabbit, relief flooded her. "I was worried," she admitted, helping him out of his coat. He pulled her close, kissing her deeply. "I'm always coming back to you." That night, their lovemaking carried an edge of desperation, as if affirming life in the face of the frontier's perils. Elijah's hands were everywhere, claiming her, and Clara gave herself fully, her cries echoing in the small space. The following day brought sunshine, melting more snow and revealing patches of earth. They worked side by side in the garden, preparing soil for spring. Clara's dress hitched up to her knees, dirt under her nails. She felt alive, connected to the land and to him. During a break under the warming sun, Elijah led her to the barn, where hay bales provided a makeshift bed. Their encounter was playful,